or two, maybe. I don't know.
Hello, hello. We are back. It is Wednesday. It's 4 o'clock, and it's time for Hammer Away. We are back and ready to roll today. We've got some cool stuff happening. Hey, a happy 98th birthday to Dick Van Dyke today. I mean, wow, 98. These guys are really making it up there. It's really, really cool. Then there was something else. I also needed to also send out a moment of thought for Miles Goodwin, who we lost from April Wine, and just condolences there. I just got a photo from a friend of mine today who was sent out a whole thing. It was like a Sergeant Pepper thing that had so many of the folks who had passed away already in this year. It just was crazy that who all has passed. It just flipped me out. I'll see if I can pull that up. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that, because I know I got 3 gentlemen right here who are ready to pop on. I am going to bring this up. Take a look at this. This is what we got going on today. The Hammer meets the Steel City. We're talking to Mike Floros. We also got Anthony and Jason with us from the band as well today. This is thrilling. I love it. So we are going to bring those guys up right now. Here we go. And I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to take myself out of here. And there we are. And I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do that. And we'll do this. And I think I'll do that. Oh, okay. Jason, can I unmute you, or can you unmute you?
There you go.
Now we got everybody. What's going on, guys?
Not much. Just, having a wonderful day here.
Excellent.
Just staying minty fresh, man.
You are minty fresh.
I try to be. Fresh breath is a priority in my life.
Okay, so I have to ask you, first thing, Mike, is that the 2-hour stocking cap, or is that the 4-hour stocking cap?
Well, I don't know. Seeing as how it's, I'm kind of confused.
It's an actual
Am I Superman
cap.
Or is it the Flash?
Oh, the Flash.
If it's the 2-hour, I guess. If it's the Flash, it's the 4-hour. I guess I need some Viagra for that. If you last longer than 4 hours, seek medical help.
I don't need that.
Okay, all right.
I don't need no.
Remember, Superman never made any money, by the way.
Yeah.
There was a song about it.
Superman was a broke ass bitch.
Oh, was it Crash Test Dummies? I think they had a big hit with that.
Yes. Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. There's like a million songs with Superman in it. I even wrote a song with Superman in it. It's called wait for it. Wait. Superman. But yeah, my favorite Superman-based song is probably the one by the Kinks.
Oh yeah. I Want to Fly Like Superman. Yeah, that was.
It's off of Low Budget.
Low Budget album. That was a really good record.
Yeah,
yes, it was.
Yeah, it was. Although that's back in those days when all of our favorite artists were going disco.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that album came out. Yeah, I think 77, 78. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they did that double live album that Went the Road. And,
that was really good. It was confusing because right around that time frame too, Leonard Skinner had that album called One More for the Road.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep, that's absolutely right. And then of course they did Lola, and they had that little disco moment in the middle of that.
Yeah.
On that. Yeah. But hey, who am I?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Who am I?
Somebody said disco, and I got excited. So
as well you should. Yeah, that was a weird time. I don't know what you guys felt about it, but what was the biggest, real quick, before we get started into the lightning round, or I'll just make it a 6th question in the lightning round. What was your biggest rock to disco? Whoa, are you serious? Or were you like, I kind of like this?
Kiss.
Yeah, I think
everybody's gonna say Kiss. Yeah, I think but there's so many artists that did that kind of crossover thing at that point.
did a little
Well,
bit.
that's what was that guy? He actually was. It is Kiss, but there was a guy, and I'm trying to think of his name. He was in like Edgar Winter Group.
Yeah, you're talking about Dan Hartman.
There you go, Dan Hartman. Then he did like Instant Replay with Vinnie Vincent playing guitar on that song.
I have
That's
it.
absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I got it on vinyl, I think.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is
You're like,
crazy.
okay.
When he was known as Vinny
Cusano.
Cusano.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
a paisan.
Yeah. He lives out
Cool.
in, he's got a place out in
Hey.
Hartford, Massachusetts. Not sorry, Hartford, Connecticut. Sorry.
Yeah, that was a heck of a produced thing. I'll tell you what, my
Yeah.
son, when we speaking of, Mike, I'm glad you brought that up, because when the first Power Rangers movie came out,
Oh,
my kids were growing up, and my son we were into it, and they had the big disco version of Free Ride in that movie.
oh.
It was on the
That's just-
soundtrack. It's like 7 minutes long by Dan Hartman, and we listened to it in the car. My son goes, "Can we hear that again?" I go, "Not right now."
No. Now, if you want to play an 8-minute long version, you want to play the full length version of Foghat, Pop's all down for that, but don't make me listen to that shit again.
Yeah, but boy, that disco version, brother, I got an appreciation for it now, but not that big of appreciation.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
one of
well-
mine was, the Stones did it, Queen did it,
Oh yeah.
but one of
Oh,
mine
yeah.
was Sweet,
Oh, yeah.
level-headed,
Yeah.
great song. Love is like oxygen.
Love is like
Oh yeah.
oxygen.
That's a killer song.
But man,
It
there
is.
was some major disco stuff happening on that record.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
the
like-
big one for me.
And like you said, Stones, Miss You.
This year.
Believe it or not, though, that's actually my favorite.
Emotional
Rolling
Rescue.
Stones. That's my favorite
Rescue, I
Rolling
was just gonna
Stones
say,
song.
Emotional Rescue.
Yeah.
I love when he's like, "Hey,
Great song.
what's the matter, man?
Yeah.
Don't come around and swear with some Puerto Rican girl. Just dying to meet you."
One British brother right there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, there he is. That's my favorite Rolling Stones song of all time.
Oh man, it's a great song, and that album is fantastic. There's some of my
Yes, it
favorite
is.
songs on that record.
Yeah,
So, Shattered, love it. Would
Oh,
love
yeah.
to play it live.
killer tune for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's hit this lightning round real quick then. The Steel City lightning round. Favorite thing about being in a band throughout your career? What's your favorite thing about being in a band?
Okay, I'll go first. I mean, touring, obviously, playing live gigs. I mean, that's kind of where it all begins.
Mm-hmm.
That's my thing.
All right, Anthony.
Yeah.
Or
Live.
Mike?
I'd say live.
Okay.
Playing live.
Playing live.
Yeah.
I'd say all the nice parting gifts and prizes. That's,
Mhm.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Ready
No,
for
I
a
think
tour in Japan?
Respect of the sound guys.
We are.
Oh Jesus.
Oh, the sound guy. My favorite people. Touring Mozambique is an ambition of mine. So there you go.
It's who doesn't want to tour there?
Madagascar, another hot spot, I'm sure.
There you go. You
You
got to move it.
That's right.
My neighbor is actually from Mozambique, so I can ask him if we could, somehow
Oh cool.
wrangle
See
the
if,
show
see if
there.
he could
Finagle it.
set something up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good.
See,
He's a
maybe at this moment, that's the best thing about being in a band is having a keyboard
having a
player
neighbor from
that has a
Mozambique.
connection to Mozambique.
That's right. Hey,
Yeah.
There's a reason Tony's my friend. That's it.
Yeah. There's a reason I'm in this band. That's high on the list.
So
I've been
Tony,
playing-
what kind of
Been
connections
playing
do
the
you
long
have?
game.
What's
You're
that?
in.
Yeah.
Funniest personal moment as a musician, one that maybe you're like, yeah.
I think one of my early shows. We would do these shows once a year at my high school, and so we would just rehearse for this one gig. It was called the Turkey Talent Show, and so if something went wrong at that, it wasn't well forgotten. So. Because it was like we waited for this all year to play in front of our classmates.
Oh,
So
man.
I remember my drummer's bass drum falling off the riser, and then somehow it knocked into my amp, which then knocked my head off. So kind of looked like a Who moment. We kept going, but that was embarrassing yet funny.
I'll go next
Humble.
because we I don't know if you're familiar with L'Amour's in Brooklyn. It's a huge rock club from the 80s and 90s. Huge. I mean, everybody's
Oh, yeah.
playing. So my band was opening up for Firehouse, and we had rented a bus and everything. We had a bunch of people on it. We got to the club, and they had shut it down they'd closed it without telling, canceled the show. They didn't tell us.
Oh,
So the bus driver backed up to the front door and emptied the toilet all over the sidewalk. It was great.
Oh, wow.
nice. Nice.
No,
And all I
Nice.
was just trying to say, that was a shitty thing to do.
That was a shitty.
no, was
Yep.
it canceled for low attendance or whatnot? I was a good friends of.
I don't know. I mean, Firehouse, it's a huge draw. I think it was just on the club's end and not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fecally speaking.
Yeah, Michael Kaplan with Epic Records produced them. He also did Living Color.
Yeah.
So good guy.
Okay. So my funniest moment. Hold on a second. 1 second. Hey, Mom! The meatloaf! Okay. Step Brothers reference. No, God love it. This was a dear friend of mine, but I played in a band with a fellow back in the 80s, and we were playing live, and the show wasn't going well. We'll just say that.
Okay.
So, and I'm not going to mention the person because I love him to death, and he was one of my greatest friends. But he tries to do like the Cinderella thing where he swings his, guitar around, and he ends up smacking himself, and he lost one of his contact lenses. So like I said, the show was. It's like we were like 2 steps away from already having like tomatoes being thrown at us. This happens, and he drops to his knees, and he's looking for his contacts on stage, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, okay, we're already getting killed here. This is not going to get better. I think that's probably the worst moment, but I'm sure I am 110% positive that at some point in time, there will be something that tops that.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah, 100%. We're still young, so relatively
For
speaking.
yourself.
Sometimes it's not our own stories that are the best. Sometimes it's the ones that our friends even tell us. Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They get crazy. My buddy who was very instrumental in helping me get started playing out has some really good stories. One of mine was an early on thing where a guy looked at me, just this old hippie dude at the end of a gig looked at me and goes, "You're a joke."
No.
I'm like, "Thank you." Say that one more time. I had him say it a couple more times.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's a step up. Thank you so much.
You're the one I'm looking for to find out how I'm doing. Yeah. Favorite moment or line from This Is Spinal Tap?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's too many.
There's so many.
There is a lot.
But mine's always the greatest line ever when they go into they're backstage. They've got they're short songs because Nigel's out of the band, and of course you know what I'm going to say. And the bass player suggests, "Why don't we do Bass Odyssey?" So the next thing they cut to is the singer saying, "This is Bass Odyssey. The bass player wrote it," and they cut to the audience at Magic Mountain there, and it's just all these people going boo and thumbs down.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Every time I suggest a song as a bass player at a gig, I think about that.
Did you ever just say that? You ever suggest it? Why don't we do Bass Odyssey?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely come up a few times. I would say it's become kind of old with me, so I don't say it as much anymore. But I still love it. I'll just I'll put that clip on about once a month, just because I love it.
Oh shoot! How about you, Tony?
Well, I mean, there's so many of them. I always love when they get lost in which way's the stage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's definitely happening.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, obviously the Stonehenge and every reference, but which way is the stage?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's a beautiful piece. What's that called? I call it "Lick My Love Pump."
How about you, Mike? Outside
would
of
be the
Lick My
one.
Love Pump, what would
Oh,
what
of course.
would be-
Well, Jason's a bass player. I'm, of course. Well, can you hear this? This one goes to 11. Yes, yeah. But this one goes to 11. Yeah, I'd say that.
I think one of mine comes in during the hotel scene. Now there's two of them, of course. Oh yeah, I see the difference when they're trying to figure out what's the difference between the album covers. But my favorite is the guy who was on the Jeffersons working at the hotel, and he goes, "I'm just as God made me, sir." I don't know, of all that whole movie, I don't know why that one always sticks in my head. It's not my favorite, but it sticks in my head
Oh yeah, that's funny.
because I've used it often. I'm just as God made me, sir. So we have Miss So. I just wanted to say hello, good evening, she says, and Savage
Howdy.
Work
Hey.
here, two of our regulars. So the next one we have, since it's the holiday season, I have to throw in a couple of holiday questions. What character from A Christmas Carol would best describe you?
Oh gosh.
I
No
think I know
clue.
what Mike would be, but
I
You
mean,
could say what I would be because I've only seen that movie once.
well,
It
but
was
it's
a
a story,
long
so you
time
know
ago.
the story though.
It's a nah. I haven't seen that movie since I was like way young, so I couldn't tell. I couldn't even tell you.
All right, I'll call one out for you then. We'll start with you. I'd say you would be the Ghost of Christmas Present.
Okay, sure. Like I said, I'm lost on this particular.
Very
on this.
crazy, very jovial, very, and you know,
That's right. Afternoon, bitches. Got
okay,
that's the new version right there.
it. There it is.
A
Yeah.
Floros Christmas Carol.
How you doing, you son of
Sup,
bitches?
bitches?
Yep. Hey,
No, my wife just walked in. She wants to say
Christine.
hello. I said, Mike's going to be
Hey.
on with me, and Jason
What
and Tony's
up?
here too.
Howdy.
Hello.
What up? How you doing? How you doing, huh? Yeah, how you doing? You okay?
Doing all right.
All right.
Silly.
Are you
Yeah, you
you dynamite?
What about you, Tony? What would you be?
I guess I'd probably be Bob Cratchit. I would say maybe.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, we're doing the Christmas
Good call.
thing, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just my last two questions on the lightning round are holiday questions.
Did anybody pick Scrooge yet?
No,
That
I
would be
told
me.
Mike he'd be a good Christmas present ghost.
You're a mean one.
What about
son
you,
of a bitch.
Jason?
I mean, I guess the only one left on there is Tiny Tim. They say size doesn't matter. I don't know.
One of the tallest in the band, and he says Tiny Tim.
There you go.
I was gonna say that, but you know,
And
being
you
the
know,
shortest guy in the band, I'd say, hey, Tiny Tim.
So during holiday shows, Jason has to hop up on your shoulder then, Tony.
Exactly.
But I will say, like, with some of my other bands, I'm the smallest guy in the band. It's funny how that kind of works.
That is weird.
Yeah.
That is weird.
just an
Oh.
FYI.
Yes.
Pardon me. I'm so sorry. I don't know why, but I was thinking you were. For a Christmas Carol, you're thinking. So you talk about like this Scrooge and Tiny.
Yes.
I was thinking you were talking about the movie where the kid gets his tongue stuck to the.
Oh,
pole.
that's Christmas
Oh,
Story.
Christmas Story.
Yeah.
I would be Scrooge, 100%.
You would be Scrooge. Okay.
Oh hell yeah!
I relate
Yeah.
to that.
All right. I'll be the Ghost of
Yeah.
Christmas Present then.
Who's
You could be the
Marley?
ghost of.
'Cause I'm kind of a dick. So he's kind of.
Oh, come
who's
on.
Marley?
Don't-
Yeah, I don't know.
Don't
that
sell
was-
yourself short. If you're going to be the dick, be the whole dick. Get the balls underneath. Get
Oh,
everything.
come on
man.
now.
Be
That's
everything.
like,
Be
you
all
know.
you can be.
That's my cue, she says.
She's
Bye.
out.
You're
Who wants
talking
to be
balls.
the-
I'm out.
Oh yeah.
Who wants to be the dick? I don't want to be the dick.
Oh man. Miss So says hello, by the way. So lastly,
What?
what is your favorite holiday movie then?
I will go with. Geez, there's so many, and there's some new ones and stuff like that. But I would go with definitely, kind of a historic one, I guess, from 1989, which would be, Christmas. What is it?
Story.
Story or
Christmas Story.
Vacation?
Christmas Vacation.
Yes.
Christmas Vacation.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a classic. There's so many great scenes in there.
It is. It is, but it's not my kind of movie. I'm just not.
You're not feeling it?
No, my family loves it, and I
Yeah.
just can't do it. I've got family, friends. so many people around me are like, I love that movie. You don't like that movie? No, I don't like that movie.
You know what? Actually, you know what? It has kind of evolved into a Christmas movie, which isn't really Christmas based, although it takes place with a building with people that are being held hostage at
There
a
you go.
party. Yeah, Die Hard.
It's a
That's
question.
it.
It's a question.
That's
Is it or isn't it? I say it is.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. It is.
It's historic with my family because my wife was making cookies with our daughter years ago, and my son and I were putting together our new table.
Okay.
My wife says, you got to put on a Christmas movie. She hears boom, 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 boom. And she's like, that doesn't sound like Christmas. I go, oh, it's Christmas.
It's
Die
Christmas.
Hard.
It is. It is.
That's it.
So that's when it all started right there. Right there.
Yes.
There you go. Thank you,
There we
Miss
go.
Sophie.
There's Die Hard.
Gotta love Miss So. She's backing us up. What about you, Mike? Favorite movie?
You just said it.
Oh, that was it. Die Hard.
Oh, hell yeah. If it's either that or it's going to be a Christmas show where you have a little reindeer running around going, I'm cute. I'm cute. She thinks I'm cute.
Oh, hey, what? Not to butt in, but what about the Ewoks Christmas special?
Oh, dude.
Oh,
You can still find that.
Every it's on. You can buy it off of like Facebook Marketplace on Blu-ray.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah, because the YouTube quality is really bad.
Yeah. The only good thing they always say is what? What is the only good part about that show? They say.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if there's any good parts
Oh,
about it.
look at this.
Is the Boba Fett part?
Oh,
since we're
okay.
going all Star Wars, guys, unopened.
Look at that.
Nice.
Am I?
What is it? I can't
the
see.
talking Yoda.
Lean it forward.
Lean it forward
Look
a
at
little
the
bit.
glare.
That's what she
There
said.
you go.
But never to you. Yeah. Talking Yoda. Never opened.
What year did that come out? Is it a reissue? Is it a new one?
Oh, that thing's got to be like 10 years old.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know.
Do you want me to
lead
be
singer-
We need to go back
Please.
to the Kenner days, which I had a Sears collection, and then when I got divorced, my ex stole that.
Oh.
Oh,
but,
nice.
I had probably 300 action heroes, but
Oh my God.
yeah,
Oh,
so
wow.
part of the settlement.
Oh wow. Wow.
Oh, goodness.
Open.
And in his teen years, he kept asking for the ones with the Kung Fu grip, and his parents didn't know why.
Yeah. Kung Fu grip. That was something else.
Yes. Check out Santa Lost My List
Yeah.
and I Didn't Get Shit by The Great
Oh.
Affairs. Great
Yeah,
song.
it's awesome. Killer tune.
We just played it
Yeah.
live not long ago and
Nice.
and had a lot of fun with it. Of course, I asked for G.I. Joe with a Kung Fu grip.
Oh
I
yeah.
There you
did it.
go. Of course.
I never had a GI Joe. I had a big Jim. It was more politically correct.
Oh, yeah.
Big Jim, Warpath.
Yeah.
What
Big
was
Jim
the other
always
guy
wore-
with the he
Big
was
Jim always
bald.
wore number 9.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That had the Big Jim the RV thing. And,
Oh yeah. Too,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. And,
Yeah.
you know, just
And he-
having it, just a boy playing with a doll called Big Jim. There's nothing, I don't know.
Nothing.
ambiguous
Yeah,
about
nothing.
It's not that bad. It could have been called Big Johnson.
Nothing
Oh,
off of that.
That's me.
that. It's Big Stuart Johnson.
So I bought a Big Johnson for my grandson.
He loves playing
So
with it.
now my grandson has a Big Johnson.
What kind of Steely Dan is that? So Tony, what's your favorite movie?
Probably the Albert Finney Scrooge, the musical one. I can watch that 100 times and never get tired of that one.
Amen.
And Elf, probably Elf. Also,
Oh,
Elf.
well, good. That's a good
I
one.
saw it last night. It's
Yep.
hysterical. It's just absolutely hysterical.
What's your favorite
Yeah.
part in Elf?
Oh, wow.
I still like the part where he sees the raccoon. He goes, "Somebody need a hug."
And the mailroom's hysterical. The mailroom. And when Miles Finch
Miles Finch.
yeah.
runs
Only
across
Elf
the
one more time.
Oh, he's an angry elf. Call me elf one more time.
On the
Oh.
DVD, they have an extended part of that scene. They have a little more than what they have in the movie. But that's a great.
There was a great outtake where they were playing hockey, which they never,
Yes.
that hockey scene, and he was like knocking them all over, like flattening them. It's hysterical. I guess you got to pick and choose, but that
That's
was
right.
something.
That's right. You know, I was going to mention too, the Ewok TV show was pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they had the animated series, right? I was going to say about the Kenner toys. Not like we shouldn't be talking about music right now, but God, this channel is all about nostalgia too. But those Kenner toys, I don't know if you guys have ever seen any documentaries on that stuff, but I love the fact that when the original guy was working with the little figures and he had to have a meeting the next morning. Did you guys hear about that?
No.
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 He didn't know what to use for the clothing, so he cut apart his sock
Oh wow.
and put his sock over the top of it.
Oh, that's so weird.
His
That's
dirty
wild.
sock went into the meeting with this.
That's hilarious.
It's crazy.
I could definitely see that, like the Jawa. The Jawas had like that kind of weird kind of soft
Yes.
material on them for the
Yes.
hood and everything.
Yes.
Um,
Maybe, you know what? Maybe it was a Jawa outfit.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
It was the Jawa outfit. Thank you for clearing me up on that one.
Sure.
That's good.
The
All
thing
of my
that
Star Wars friends
the
will be
thing that
kicking my
confused
ass.
me too is I had some of the ones that actually had that, and you probably did too. They had the built-in lightsaber, like it had Obi-Wan Kenobi with a lightsaber, and as well as Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. But his was yellow, which was weird. You know, should have been green.
Yeah.
You know, Darth's was correct, which was red. I don't know. It's unusual. I never understood that. But they got rid of that because it was a choking hazard shortly afterwards.
Speaking of built-in lightsabers and choking hazards, I just thought of the movie Skin Deep, but I digress.
Okay.
That's the name of that's the name of your sex tape.
Hey, you know what movie I'm talking about, though, right? The movie
Yeah.
with John Ritter. Yeah,
Yes.
that one scene.
John Ritter did some great movies when I was when I was younger, like high school years. He did what was it, Real Men. He also did Hero at Large. Those were back in the days, and that's how I fell in love with Ann Archer. I'm like,
Yeah,
Oh, there you go. Definitely.
she was a nice looking lady.
oh, beautiful, gorgeous,
Yep.
gorgeous. Yeah,
Mhm.
that and Green Ice.
I don't think I've seen that.
You can watch it on YouTube. The whole thing is out there. Green Ice has her, Omar Sharif, and there's John LaRoquette's in it even,
Oh my gosh.
and Ryan O'Neal.
Oh, just passed.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Yeah. He's probably on that graphic that I just got today.
Yeah.
So, hey, let's get started here with the Steel City part of this deal. Now, the first album, Fortress, if you haven't heard, or you need to check that out, came out in 2018. That was the second year that we were hanging out at the same gig when we played up at the Rockin' Skull, 2017
Yes.
and then 2018.
Mhm.
And that's when I purchased that. And then Mach 2, because in 2018 when it came out, I bought that. And then Mach 2 came out 2 years later, right? Jason and I were just talking about this.
Yes.
2020, right?
2020.
2020. Tonight on 2020. So we're tell me about the beginnings of Steel City when you did Fortress. What, just briefly, because I want to get into what's going on right now. That's really most important. But I want to bring an understanding for Fortress and for Mach 2 as well, so everybody can get into that.
Oh, you mean the solo album that was supposed to be, that ended up being Steel City?
Yes, Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. I was actually working on a solo album, and I had certain songs that I could not sing because these guys have all been tortured with hearing my dad. So and we'll just leave it there. But there are some songs that I can sing, but I'm not a singer, man. I'm a guitar player. And so I sent these 3 songs to Brian Cole, who was our singer at the time, and he did such an amazing job that I asked him, like, do you just want to sing the whole thing, man? He was like, well, yeah, bro, that'd be great. And so that's Brian Cole.
It's a good impersonation.
That's good.
Yeah. And love the guy. He's awesome. But it was just, and so, it just kind of evolved into that. and brought in some friends, in Scott West and Ron McCloskey for drums and bass, and it just kind of evolved into a band. It really wasn't intentionally starting out that way, and I don't know, just kind of went from there.
So do you remember what those 3 songs were that you sent?
I know one was Back on the Street, which was the Vinnie Vincent song, because there's no way I can, I'd probably have to just get a vice grip from my cojones to sing that high.
There's those moments in it, right?
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then Turnabout was another, because
Okay.
I couldn't really find, I knew what I wanted.
Mhm.
And when I talked to, when Brian and I talked, he's like, oh yeah, bro, I got you. I know what you want. I got it. I get it. Give me a couple hours. And, it comes back and there's fucking incredible and part of my language, but it's like,
That's all right.
The lead vocals were just like unbelievable. And he's like, oh, I did the harmonies too. I hope you don't mind. And I was like, well, yeah, because that's what we were talking about. And the dude just was unreal.
Just killed it.
So, yeah. And then the third song, I want to say was Heart and Soul or Do You Love Me? I can't remember which one, but yeah, it was one of those two. And like I said, they were so good that we just said, sing the whole damn thing. And that's how Steel City, I guess, was born.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Do You Love Me is the first track, Heart and Soul is the second, Turnabout is the third. And then we have Picture of Beauty, Too Little Too Late, Someone Like You, Passing Ships, Shame on You, Rockin' the USA, and Back on the Streets. And then, so how many of the tracks on this are retained with your live show now?
I want to say like 3 of them. We thought about putting Passing Ships on the last couple of shows that we did, but we had to, to pare down the set just slightly. So that was one of the songs that was lost. It's probably my favorite song on that album. But I think what we have, Turnabout opens the show, Heart and Soul is another one, and then we do one more from that album. I think we do like 3 or 4 usually.
Yeah, because when we were down for Rockin' Pod, you had a great acoustic set. You guys did. You killed it. And
thank you for lending me the guitar. Appreciate that.
Absolutely. I thank my buddy Mealy for giving that to me and then being able to do that with you. That was a lot of fun. That was
a blast.
It's one of those little things in my life that I live, it sounds weird to say it, but that's what I live for. It's music is my life. And if I can help out with something like that, that was a real honor to be able to do that. I thought it was a lot of fun. And you guys did Turnabout. You opened with that, didn't you?
I think so.
Yeah. It's a great album, guys. Be sure and check out Fortress. Both of these albums are fantastic. So that's cool. It's good to know that was something that you started out with, and to know about those songs as well. Because like I say, when I got Mach 2 and was listening to it, I remember telling you, Mike, right away, I was like, I'm starting almost every day with these 2 records. It just was kind of,
oh wow,
it was a great, I don't know, they both landed. You know what I mean? You have those albums that just you hear them, they're new to you, and they just grab you.
Very
great,
cool.
Honestly, I must say.
2 years later, you had Mach 2 came out with a different vocalist that you still have now. Hearts on Fire. Stop me if there's anything you want to tell me about any of these too. Dead Men, Steal Your Heart, Wasted Time, I Cry, A Little Love, Still Close to My Heart. These are
I wrote that in 1985.
Is that right?
To my heart. Yeah.
I think it's a great song.
I was 17.
I've been begging Mike to do that live always, because it's
really
such a Boston-esque song. The way that the lyric, I mean, where does this sings the lyrics, and just the way it comes together, it just kind of reminds me almost like Amanda, off that last Boston record.
Very good, very good. Yes, that was I wasn't a fan of that record, and I gave it a bad review, which pissed off one of my frat brothers at the time. But I'm like, not a great record. I'm sorry, but Amanda, I played on the radio as a DJ in '86 when that was a hit, and it was a beautiful song. But an interesting way to start a Boston album.
Yeah.
It's just kind of strange.
Yeah, third
Give
stage.
It Back.
Yeah, weird.
Give It Back is I love that song. I
That was
love all these
that
songs.
song. That song started as a joke.
Why is that right?
Yeah, my friend Tom Talley and I, when we were in our early 20s, like 20, 21, 22, probably somewhere around there, we used to sing that as like a joke, like it was like a like give it back, give it back, give it back, you dirty sucker. And then of course you know what followed. Dirty sucker was Mother. So yeah, and I told him, I said, there's gonna come a time where something inspires me to write that and make that into an actual song. So you know, the song itself is about a romantic interlude with a lady. And so it inspired the song, and there you have it. So yeah,
Fantastic.
but it started off as a complete and total joke, as did enough, you know, songs from the past. But that's
Well, you know, it's kind of like a shuffle, kind of like a Van Halen kind of vibe.
Right.
To me, it's
on purpose.
almost like a Van Halen meets, you know, early David Lee Roth band, you know, Eat 'em and Smile kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Spotlight, Prayer for Love, which is an instrumental.
Tony wrote that.
Who did?
Tony wrote Prayer for Love. I asked him to
Oh,
write an
nice.
intro for Down to One.
Yeah.
And you know, and I'll let Tony elaborate on it, but I don't know why, but every time I hear that, it just gives me like a soundtrack kind of vibe. Honestly, I can like almost see like Rocky prepare, you know, like just like staring at the mirror before a fight, you know, as that song is playing. But I mean, it's just, but it's such a beautiful piece that Tony just, you know, just really he heard Down to One and he crafted that thing out of thin air, man. It sounds amazing. So,
Tony, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, I'm a soundtrack guy, so I like to write them. I like the big epic orchestral, you know, pieces. So, you know, if I hear something and I just come up with it, then you know, it's just like that intro is beautiful. Like not my part, but his melody on Down to One was just it's a beautiful little So I felt I should take it from there. You know, maybe embellish on it.
It's a great Down to One is a great track. I love it. Did you play that in the acoustic set?
I can't remember if we did or not.
We might have.
I think we did.
We may
I
have.
think so. Yeah.
That was interesting trying to play that intro on a guitar. I gotta be, you know.
Yeah, that's
having never played it, you know, on a guitar until that moment. So it was like,
yeah.
Oh, here it is. Play it.
Yeah.
So when we're talking Rocky, that's Bill Conti. What's some of your other favorites, Tony? If you're
John Williams, Bernard Herrmann, you know, ton of them.
Fill me in on Bernard Herrmann.
Jerry Goldsmith. Bernard Herrmann did the Psycho and all those old.
Got you.
He did like Vertigo, Psycho. So if you listen to just, you know, everybody's so with the, you know, the stabbing scene and everything, but if you listen to the music throughout it, it is just incredible. Wow. And Vertigo too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, fantastic. Are you a Tangerine Dream fan at all? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's something that I bumped into years ago, and then I always had the Sorcerer soundtrack, and Phaedra was a big one that I had. Then he did the Thief soundtrack.
Yeah,
and that was really, really cool, and that really bumped him up. I think, you know, working with Michael Mann and them working with Michael Mann, and it was great. It was amazing stuff. So, so of those two records, when did this group of the band get together within the context of those two records?
Oh gosh. Well, Scott West, like I said, a good friend of mine, he was being elevated to the president of his current company. So he really wasn't going to be able to, continue, and his best friend is Ron McCloskey. They were kind of a package deal. It was like they left, and basically it was me and Tony that was left. Brian Cole wanted to move on, wanted to do his own thing. And God bless him. He's doing like a Journey tribute band right now, and he is absolutely killing it. So God bless him for that. I haven't talked to him in probably like a month or two, but we still talk occasionally. And, you know, we talk about maybe jamming sometime, but
Yep.
right now he's doing his own thing, and God bless him, man, because he's killing it. But so that left me. It was me and my boy Tony and John Kibble. We were formerly on Kibble Records. Have to give credit where credit's due. Wanted to form what he felt was, I guess, like a super group. And so he's like, I've got the guy, I've got the guy on bass, and his name's Jason Cornwell.
Yeah.
And so, of course, then Jason, John talks to Jason.
Actually,
John brought in.
You were on the call with John. I received a call.
Yeah.
It was, I remember, it was December 22nd. 2019, I believe, or was it 2018? I don't know. It all came together.
I don't know.
I would have to say 18.
It was 2018, December 22nd. And I was actually driving into Boston for a studio session, and I got the call from John, and I declined the call. And then he was like, "Hey, dude, come on, can you please pick up the phone?" I'm like, "I'm just about to go into this session." And it was him and Mike on the phone, and they wanted to talk to me about doing this. And I said, certainly. I had known John from dealing with, Chaz, who's a singer for Westbound, but he's also in Tango Down.
Yep.
So, to me, it was a reputable thing. So I was definitely interested, as soon as I heard. And then we met up, Mike and I, at NAMM. Actually, I was at the PV booth just playing, and Mike said, "Let's meet up there." And we met up there. We've been friends ever since. And I said, been friends and, colleagues. I think it kind of goes together. In a band, you got to be friends as well as, colleagues or, musician partners and whatnot to make it work.
Yeah. And so we did, and then John, of course, brought BJ Zamp at the time on board for drums, and BJ, played incredibly on Mach 2. And of course, last but not least, he brought in the voice, Mr. Kathy, and asked, Roy if he wanted to be a part of it. And then, of course, Roy and I had the conversation because, at the end of the day, it was kind of up to me to sell the idea. And Roy liked the songs, and he just said, "Hey, some of the things that some of the things that you write," he goes, "a word or two might flow differently here or there for me. Is that okay with you?" And I'm like, "That's fine." And so that's how Steel City was born, and it just kind of came from there, and it evolved, and unfortunately, we didn't stay with John, and we moved on, and but have to give credit where credit's due. It was John Kivel's idea to kind of have more of like a different vibe to the band, and that's actually where Mach 2 came from. That was also, give credit to John. He came up with the album title.
Yeah. How many tracks did you have written for Mach 2 when you talked with Roy, or then at the end total from which you chose?
Oh gosh, I usually have somewhere around 50 to 60 songs just waiting in the wings, and usually by the time I'm done recording an album, like a recording, I don't want to say, and I don't mean, and I that came out wrong. But when I say I don't mean, what I'm saying is, I'm recording demos. So at that particular point, it's just me. But it's always recorded with with the idea of somebody else, bringing the guys in at some point so they can put their spin on everything. But if we get 10 songs done, by the time those 10 songs are done, there's already 10 or more songs written to take their place. So there's always like a fresh circulation of songs for us to choose from. And I think for this particular album, we're just kind of on a time constraint. So it to some degree, and with that in mind, we wanted to bring in like everybody for writing, like Jason, we want to bring in some of Jason's songs as well. And we were just on kind of like, I guess, a bit of a time crunch. So we had songs that we'd selected that we've been listening to. So we picked those, and hopefully on the next album, especially hopefully on the next album, we'll be able to have everybody bring some stuff in. Like, maybe Tony can bring in some of his songs, or Jason can bring some of his, or Roy, or Anthony White for that matter. That's the current lineup of the band, by the way.
Yeah.
Hopefully everybody can be a little bit more involved in regard to songwriting. That would be really cool.
Tony, what's your favorite part about doing studio work in this band?
Well, it's, it's kind of like it's a neat challenge to
Mhm.
get that and just map it out and, pick the sounds out of the 10,000 or so sounds that are available to,
Yeah.
keyboards.
Right.
Yeah, it's guitar, you just kind of, you got your stuff, but keyboards, it's just insane how many sounds there are. And I try to go with like the B3. That's my,
Mhm.
the more
For sure.
traditional, maybe a few synth sounds in there, but nothing over the top,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm a traditionalist.
And then as far as bass lines are concerned, Jason, what are some of your from these, and now we'll kind of start into some of what's happening now, but between these two records, what are some of your favorite songs as a bass player from these two albums?
You know, Give It Back is definitely one of my favorites. It's got an intro that Mike and I do together.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably one of my, favorite ones off the records. There's that song that we don't really play that often. What's that called? Rockin' the USA. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah.
I love that song. I'd
Yeah.
like to do that song a little bit more as well. I think it's kind of got a very crowd pleasing kind of vibe to
Right.
it.
And I love that song. It's got a great kind of Gene Simmons kind of bass thing going on there. So kudos to the original bass player. But yeah, so those two songs off of those two records is kind of stand.
Yeah. Well, let's step into what's happening now then. So here we are a few years after Mach 2. And what is the latest news that you can tell us?
Jason, I will give you the floor.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of been out there, but it's great to bring it to your show. But yeah, we signed with Frontiers.
Great.
For a 5-record deal. That included the 2 records that we talked about that have been taken over by Frontiers, as well as 3 upcoming records. So that's exciting for us. So we're in the final production phase of the record as we speak.
Awesome.
Tony's finishing up the keyboards, Roy's finishing up the vocals. So things are moving right along, and Alessandro over there, I can't say enough good things about him. He's been behind the plate from day one.
Very cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I know that they also have an office that's down in Nashville as well, right?
Well, here's the funny thing is that office is gone, and my location is in Boston. So their new GM has an office here in Boston, and he used to be with Warner Electro Atlantic WIA. So his intent for my conversation with him is kind of to take the great stuff that they got right now and the huge catalog of music and take it even further. I mean, because when you think of Frontiers, not only do they have a lot of great upcoming bands, but they've got a lot of historical stuff. I mean, deep back to the 80s, like Winger and whatnot. But then you've also got Journey on there. So I mean, when you
Winger and Journey.
When you think about the catalog, it stretches decades. So I think that you're going to try to optimize on that. So it's kind of funny, I've been in touch with these guys a lot. With it started out with my one of my other bands, Westbound, and transitioned to here, and also I worked with Ronnie Monroe on some stuff with Frontiers as well. So it's going to come full circle, and my goal was for Steel City, and Mike and I talked about it from day one, and we feel like we kind of progressed the way we should have. So we started with Kibble, who was great, and then we moved to Paris, and now we're moving. I feel, and no bad vibes to anybody, but we feel like we're moving up the chain to Frontiers to the next level.
Yeah, because Tom Mathers at Paris is good people too, for sure.
Oh yeah, and so
yeah. It's great to have those levels within that industry, because it's like you say, it's there a lot of great people to work with. It's just different levels, and work your way up.
I agree.
And not that anything is any less here or there. It's just some are known more, and they have, I mean, Frontiers. If you haven't heard of them, I mean, they have, as you said, they have so many bands.
Oh yeah,
so many different classic bands, and like you said, new bands as well.
Yeah.
It's just
Mhm.
it's amazing the people that are on there.
It really is. It really is.
Now,
Yeah.
Mike, you're the one that's been here through this from the first one. What are you noticing now that yay, I'm excited that you guys that's where you are in the recording, because I'm ready for the next record.
Mhm.
And how has this one been recording as opposed to the others?
I think it's just I think for us time wise, it's always a bit of a challenge because we're all spread so far apart.
Mm-hmm.
And with that being the case, that's probably one component of it. Another component of it is the fact that as you well know, in today's I guess rock and roll world, or just music world at all, you kind of have to have your a couple irons in the fire. It can't just be like where you're Paul Stanley and you're in Kiss. Like Jason's already mentioned, he's in Westbound.
Mm-hmm.
He's in another band called Hammer Down Hard, which we're going to be playing with. Um, we're going to be playing a show at the Whiskey with them, and Tony's in that band too. And so it's like, my point is, it's like, when you have all of these other avenues that you're pursuing, as well as Steel City. Roy has the Fifth. Anthony has Generation Landslide. Tony, as I said, has Hammer Down Hard, another band called Dead Risen. I've got Love and Chains. That kind of all kind of takes its toll on your time as well. So it presents a multitude of challenges in recording. It's getting done, but it's also it just takes a little while longer. And for me, that's a bit different because I'm used to being, I guess, a little more solo. And but it's also a good thing because then it opens ourselves up to probably a lot more creativity.
So is everybody does everybody just work separately and send all the files in?
Kind of.
Okay.
What ends up happening, for instance, is I do the original demos, and from those original demos, I try to make everything as probably about as production ready as it could possibly be, as far as like what we're hope or aiming for, or looking for like the sound of the melodies or the chorus or whatever. The guitars are pretty much done. I might want to go back and do like solos or something, to tighten them up or to freshen things up a little bit later. But for the most part, I just put everything out to drums. Then it goes out to then, to Ty Sims, who will strip everything down except the guitars.
Okay.
Then we do the drums.
Okay. And
then after that, then it'll go to Jason. Okay. And then after Jason goes to Roy, and it goes to Anthony, and everybody comes back together. And then, we work with an amazing vocalist from Bombay Black. His name is Eric Johnson. He also, does a lot of work with us for backing vocals. And so everybody kind of has, like I said, has their hands in the, whatever I'm trying to say. Everybody's got their hands on it. And so it takes a minute. But the process is different because we're all in different places, but it still comes out. I mean, you've heard the results, so hopefully they speak for themselves.
Well, I know that every time, and I'm gonna throw some awesome words out if you guys don't mind. Whenever Mike and we've had conversations, we've gotten to be good friends as I've gotten to know you guys too. I just talk to Mike more often. He has got such high regard for you guys, for everybody in the band, and your talent and what you bring to the band. So I just wanted to ask, is there, like, when you get that music, get the demos, and then is there is there a portion where you guys get to put, I say what I said earlier because I know that he probably wants Jason, he wants you to throw that Jason thing in there.
Sure.
Tony, you got that thing in there that you can, you've got the Tony thing you can throw in there. So is there a little bit of that? Do you kind of throw back some stuff and go, this is how I'm feeling it? Or how does it go?
I mean, I honestly will compare the original bass line to the bass line that I want to do, and then I'll reference Mike on it. I mean, there's been some that I'm just like, hey, Mike, that bass that you've got on there is great. I'm just going to reproduce that. Or I've even said a couple times, just keep what you've got. It's great. Let's just go with it. Let me make a couple tweaks in there to make it my own, that kind of thing. So, I mean, it's really a band effort, honestly. I mean, yeah. Oops, sorry, the dog.
That's okay. I love it. That's great.
Dinner time.
Yeah, for me, I'm barking too. Damn it.
Yeah. Oh.
And whenever you guys got to wrap up, we can wrap up. That's fine. I don't want to hold anybody from dinner.
Anyways, yeah, no, it's really a. Oh, Baker, come on. It's really a band effort.
Sound bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I usually set I'll just throw some quick ideas down and usually bounce them off Mike to see if he likes it. Get the general direction of what he wants.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Doggo.
All right, I love that. Thank you. I love doing that.
So that's how that usually goes. I'll send him like a brief minute or two of what I've done, and he yay or nay, and usually it's yay. So
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
I was gonna say too, Mike. Is it a situation where sometimes you get it and you just get this awesome chill? You're just like, damn, that's real. Okay, that's a cool little extra something, or
Yeah, and that's happened on a few occasions. For instance, usually, just the most recent example I can tell you is like Tony sent us, or sent me. I'm hearing like an echo. I don't know if that's from my phone or from somebody else's. But
everything sounds good here. I don't know.
Okay, but what Tony sent some tracks, and I was like, this is just friggin' awesome. The second I heard it, I was like, yeah, that's it, totally, 100%. And like on the last album, like, and Roy did a couple of things like where he said, I haven't really heard everything that Roy's done yet for this album, but like on the last album, when he sent I Cry, he like sends me, he's like, Mike, don't step on my Brad Delp notes. And when I heard what he did, it's just like, your jaw just drops, and Jason's a killer bass player. I feel like, honestly, just being a part of this band, when I step on stage with these guys, and I'm not saying it just to say it, these guys are all, seasoned professionals. They've been doing this longer than me, and in regard to playing live and stuff. And it's like almost, I feel like I have to upgrade my game just to hang with them, because they're on another level that I'm hopefully trying to get to myself. So I really think the world of them all as musicians and as vocalists. I mean, I think they're all just, they're just really great at what they do. So,
and now that I've got you two guys
on the spot,
what do you think of him?
Oh, I mean, where do you hear this new record? I mean, I know Mike is not a George Lynch fan. I know that, but I said the other day, I said, this is very.
We were talking about that.
There
are so many songs that sound very Dokken-ish on here, and it's me, cool. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's like, wow, he's channeling on this one.
Yeah, great tone.
Yeah,
the lead work is unbelievable.
The lead work, yeah, it's over it's a cut above what he's ever done. Really,
seriously.
Well, and
you'll hear it. Believe me.
I just can't wait. I'm like, as soon as I can hear it, I'm ready to hear it. And thanks for bringing up I Cry, because when you guys check out it, when all you folks out there watching this, when you guys check out Mach 2, I Cry is toward the front of the record, and that is one of those, when Roy gets into that vocally, it's just killer. It is one of those that grabs you. It was kind of like when Iron Maiden, I'm not making a distinct correlation between the two, but it is when like Iron Maiden came out with Dance of Death, and there were some things that Bruce was doing that he'd never done before, and it was kind of like, it just had a heightened thing about it. When you're getting into it, you hit I Cry, and you're like, yeah, that's even cooler. You're getting into some even better things that he's doing on this record. So it definitely steps up. I Cry being that 5th track on that record is really a good choice. So
Yeah, he really killed it on that. I mean, not that he didn't kill it on the other ones. He
exactly,
did,
that's my point. No,
but
it's all.
it's just like when you hear those certain notes that he hits, you're just like, you just shake your head and you're like, yeah, there's only a few people in the world that could probably do that. And, it's pretty amazing. It's funny though, because the song itself is about, if you listen to the first verse was unchanged. It's like the second verse, Roy kind of like made some adjustments to it, and you could tell he was thinking that I was talking about a lady, and it's actually about being away from your guitar. But it was a song, and I don't fault him for that, because when you listen to it, it sounds like you're talking about a woman. I just didn't tell him that it was about the guitar. He'd probably been like, "Yeah, dude, you're a nerd."
You're like, Brian Adams did it.
Yeah, run to you. That's actually what inspired it. And by the way, it's not that I don't like George Lynch. I do. I think he's a great guitar player. I think he's incredible. I'm just more of like a John Norum, Key Marcello kind of guy. Those are like my dudes. I'm like this biggest Europe fanboy I think that's ever walked the face of the earth. I have like all of John Norum's solo records. I listen to Key Marcello's solo stuff, and Europe is like my jam. Europe, Winger, Journey, and of course Kiss. So.
I just picked it up the other day.
Nice.
So I'd love to play the final countdown live, but it's been way overdone. So not going to happen.
Football game.
One of my
I'd love to do one of their more recent like songs as a cover.
They've
Anything
done
off
stuff.
Walk the Earth. Walk the Earth is a fantastic album.
Yes, it is.
And the one before that, it's just
Dance the Night Away. Dance the Night Away would be a killer song to do, actually. If you ever listen to that song, I think that's something that Roy would actually nail. Absolutely kill it.
They kind of went from a big, synthy sound to more like they went back to the Hammond.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Very Hammondy. The last couple.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and John Norum covered Back on the Streets.
Right.
That's why, and that's actually why I did that song on that album, was because, big Vinnie Vincent fan. Always been a big John Norum fan, of course. And since they both did that song, that was like my way of paying homage to both guys. I tried to more or less like give like a Norum-esque type feel to the solo in the middle, and probably more of like a Vinnie type feel to the solo at the end.
Who sang that John Norum version? Do you know?
Goran Edman.
Oh, that was Goran, who was with Yngwie on one of his records.
And he was also supposed to be, I know at one point he was like the guy for Vinnie Vincent. And I remember hearing an interview with Mark Slaughter, who said part of the reason why Vinnie, and I think I remember him saying something like Goran couldn't really pronounce Vinnie Vincent. I guess he kept calling him Winnie Vincent or something. But I mean, I don't know. But all I know is that guy, Goran Edman's a hell of a singer, man. And I love the work that he did with John Norum. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Did he do multiple records with him?
I know he did the first one for sure. He might have done others. I can't remember right off the top of my head.
Okay. Yeah. Just of interest. I just, when I heard his version, I'm like, oh, this is great too. And this guy, because I'm like, I would love to do that song. I can't hit those notes. I'd have to figure out a different way to do it, but it's such a great song, and it would suit my band. So, okay. So Mike, how many tracks did you have ready for this new one? And how many can we say how many you've got coming?
Well, I think that and Tony and Jason can correct me on this if I'm wrong, but I think I sent them initially somewhere between 15 and 20 tracks out of like the 50 that I had. And I just kind of had to pare it down before I even sent it, because I'm like, I don't think they're going to get a folder with 50 tracks. And they're like, what the hell? So I just tried to send them songs that, that perhaps had, a good vibe to them that I thought would probably make, a great record. And I think we were even paring them down even before, like we were talking to Frontiers. And then, so then we just kind of all picked the ones that we liked. And then, it's kind of funny because we had the songs down and songs that we were going to do. And then Anthony White, our drummer, he kind of chimed in. He's like, I kind of like these songs a little bit more. And he pointed to 4 songs that he really liked. And I said, well, nothing's set in stone yet. Let's give it a visit and let's see what we think. And I listened to it, and I have to say, he was 110% right. The songs he chose made for probably a more entertaining record than we probably would have had previously. And it was so it was really great. It's really great to have his input, and really, like I said, I'm privileged to have all these guys in the band for sure.
Very good. I'll ask you I think, well, you mentioned that Ty Sims, who worked with you on Mach 2, is working on this one as well.
Yep.
And then how will this, can you let us know at this point, how will this album be available then? Will it be, you're going to do a vinyl version? You're going to,
well, that's kind of out of our hands now. Again,
I would love to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think
absolutely.
we'd all love that.
Mhm.
And Jason could probably speak to this more because he's got a more tenured relationship with the label itself. But we would love to do vinyl. But it's at the end of the day, that kind of stuff is really all up to Frontiers. And whatever they decide, quite honestly, I mean, their track record is pretty much proven, so we trust them implicitly. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to do vinyl, and maybe like a particular color that would be fitting. I think that'd be really cool. I'm like you. I'm a huge vinyl person. I know he is as well, and I know Mike has a tremendous respect for it. So I'm like an avid vinyl collector. I mean, that's what I do when I'm not doing shows. Usually every weekend, my wife and I are either going to secondhand stores or to vinyl shops.
Wow. Is there something out there? Maybe I shouldn't get into this question just yet, but we'll talk about that in a second. So then we're looking for what would we be looking forward to for a date around when this will be coming out?
I don't know if we know that or not. I think Jason, is Frontiers shared anything with you?
I mean, you've been on a lot of it too, but when we talked to them in the beginning, so it was for a late spring release. Late spring.
One thing that's,
what?
Yeah. So hopefully that'll, I think that'll still be the case if that's their goal.
So yeah, within the next 6 months, and it'll be early 2024. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. That'll be great.
I'm
looking forward to it. And then, the vinyl thing, man, if you need somebody to put another vote in, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people that would throw a vote in for that. I know I just had a chance to talk with Liam from Hell's Addiction, and they have the whole package you can get. You can get the vinyl, the CD, or just a vinyl and this or whatever. So
yeah, that's so cool. I mean, Tony and I were just down in Memphis this past weekend and going to Sun Records and doing that tour. And looking at
the shirt, right?
What's that?
He's got his Sun shirt on.
Oh yeah, I see that. That's great. But I mean, they actually had some, they've got, before you do the final part of the tour and actually go in the studio, they got some old equipment, and they have these things that actually made the records, and it's pretty cool to look at this stuff.
It is quite
like direct to the lathe.
Yeah, exactly.
Just cut it as you go, and you walked out with the,
wow,
crazy.
Yeah.
I happened to be on a vinyl, a band I did a couple of tracks for, released a vinyl.
When was that?
Amoriello, the band Amoriello. Last year.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, so that was cool. That was cool getting that in the mail. Like, it's a green vinyl. Like, wow.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, talking about the colored vinyl.
I was like, so now of course everything that comes out has to be on vinyl that I do.
Right. Well, let's hope that this is another one of those.
That'd be really cool. I know. I think we'd all be like super excited if that happened.
Yep.
And it's funny because seeing the Sun Record stuff and all. I thought about and not to divert, but my mom had all of Elvis's stuff. She was a diehard Elvis fan, and she had a Sun Records That's All Right Mama 45. I mean, it's all this stuff is lost, gone.
Yeah.
But Yeah, it was just amazing. I actually got to see Elvis before he died. I was 9 years old.
That's
Wow.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty cool. But
Wow.
yeah, so when I saw their pictures, I was like, those bastards.
We had to go to Graceland. I mean, you got it.
Oh.
It's like
it's
like a
it's coming.
pilgrimage.
I'm going there soon. So
Yep.
someday soon, hopefully,
Oh,
before
you
I
have
die.
to. You have to. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Before I die.
what did you guys enjoy the most about Graceland?
Oh, I just thought
The
it was.
Jungle Room.
It's like it's hard to describe, but there's like a there's just such a vibe about it. You feel like he's still there. I mean, I know
Yeah.
that's you know, you
No,
feel
I
like
get it.
you feel his presence, and nobody made a sound walking the entire tour. Nobody said a
Really?
word. It's just
Wow.
it's eerie. Like
It's
you know
really-
how when you go to a museum, everybody's
Right.
chatting, everybody's on there. You know,
Mhm.
not a word out of anybody.
Wow.
It's just like it's so like
It was,
hallowed.
yeah, because
Hallowed
Yeah.
ground.
it's
Really
a
is.
trip. You're walking by the kitchen and when
Yeah.
you've been there and then you watch movies or something about it, you're like, that's not it.
And it's
Oh, yeah.
it's much smaller than you know, like by today's McMansion standards of
Right.
10,000 square feet. It's very
Yeah.
small. It's compact, and
Yeah.
like the pool isn't that big. You know, it's not
Yeah.
showy. You know, it's crazy, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the museum though is unbelievable. It just goes on forever and ever. It's the whole thing. Tony and I were like, "Wow, this just goes on forever. There's so
Yeah.
much." I mean, I feel like I have to go back, honestly.
Right.
You
You
do.
need 2 days. You need 2 days because the mansion itself is not much. It's
No.
the whole
Yeah.
theme park part that they have now. Just museum after museum after museum.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Because what you learn there, you leave with it, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh. So I learned a lot about it
Yeah. Yeah.
when I was during that time, and
You
then
thought
after.
you knew. You don't. It's
Mm.
like it's crazy.
That's it. You start putting things together about his life, and that's really interesting to me. Just like this conversation today, how do you put this music together? How does this happen? And when you're talking about Elvis, you're talking about a guy that was fucking huge.
Yeah.
Never wrote a thing,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
but everybody wonders if he did. They think he did, and there were meetings with Dolly Parton that she said no, not gonna do that, and you're like, good on you, girl. I mean, where they have to sign away some of the writing,
Oh, exactly.
credits, and you're like, no, I wrote this. What you're gonna do with it's gonna be cute and awesome, but no, you didn't write it. I wrote it.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it's happened over the years. It still happens.
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Songs are bought all the time.
Yeah. And
Yep.
look at one of the biggest ones these days is with Ozzy, and with the whole Bob Daisley and why can I say the
Lee Kerslake.
Lee Kerslake, and how much they wrote. And I still remember sitting down with Zakk Wylde, and he's like, that's not his piano, that's not Johnson, that's me. I know my part. That was
Yeah.
my part.
I mean,
So-
even
Mhm.
Phil Sasson, I mean, he wrote "Shut in the Dark." I mean, it's just
Mhm.
crazy. And then you go back to Black Sabbath, and Geezer Butler wrote most of the lyrics.
Mhm.
I mean, we all love Ozzy, but I guess
Right.
he was versus.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It is wild. Well, I will. What was the point I said I wanted to get back to? Nothing else. We've already done it, I think.
I don't know.
I don't either. But let's keep in touch. I really appreciate you guys being here today. It's great to have all three of you here today. I'm so happy to hear you guys got to do the Sun tour.
Oh, that was amazing. Tony
It was-
talked. I was just like, I thought we were over there. I was like, oh, we're gonna go look at this place, cool. And then I was like, oh, there's a tour, okay. I was imagining it was gonna be like $50 because the Elvis thing, the tour
Right.
bus, I thought was kind of expensive. It was like $96. But I guess it's to keep the riffraff out. But it was Christmas time too. But anyways, the Sun was only $15, so that's well worth it.
Yeah.
Mm.
I keep debating with myself whether I want to tell this story, but I went in and we had this big kind of music trivia moment,
Okay.
and I picked out a couple of things for myself and for Christine, and I went to pay for it, and he goes, "You're good."
Oh wow.
I'm like,
Wow.
What?
Hmm.
What? And he goes, "No, you I go, come on. And he goes, no, you're good. All that information you just did with us and all that stuff was amazing.
Yeah.
He's like, no, you're good. I'm like, come on, let me
Oh,
give you
wow.
something. I like throwing
Yeah.
money on the counter. He's like, nope. I'm like, okay, wow. And so then I sent them a letter. They sent me a note back. It was just great people down there. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah. I
Just,
mean, cool. You know, really cool people that work there.
yes. Yeah, totally.
We even talked to them about doing, Tony and I were talking about doing studio stuff down there. I mean, it was that cool.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
$200 an hour
Yeah.
to play in that live room.
Wow.
I mean,
Mike, what do you say?
You get your crap together and you go down there and you just bang out a song, you know?
Yeah, right. Or two
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
three.
Yeah.
Recorded on vintage consoles, microphones, everything. It's great.
Yeah. Why don't you get
Yeah.
Mike, write a Christmas tune and then go down there and do it?
You know who actually does write Christmas music, and it actually does like some covers of Christmas music as well, is Rob Kane from Love and Chains / The Apocalyptic Lovers. I am the Grinch. He sends me Christmas stuff all the time, and I'm like, dude,
Wow.
I'm not your guy. So then he sends me his version of Mr. Grinch. But yeah, I don't think I could write a Christmas tune, but I think it would be really cool. Like if we ever played in Memphis, like you know, we're good friends with Roxy Blue. We've got a gig coming up at the Whiskey on January 24th, and then again at Stages on the 25th with them. If we ever went to their town, maybe we can, you know, rent that room for an hour or two and crank out a couple of live versions of our songs and just put them out there. You know, that might
Just
be
to
fun.
have that name, you know, recorded at Sun Studios. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I mean that would be fun.
Be the way to go.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That'd be a privilege, man, for sure.
I think before we go, just real quick, Jason, tell me about your other projects and that beautiful bass. I love that.
Oh, yeah. From my friend Joe Fuco at Sawtooth. I can't thank him enough. He gave this to me ago. It's a Sarzo bass. It's acoustic electric bass. And it's got the, you know, killer pickups. Anyways, so I got going on. So, I mean, the list is kind of long, so I apologize, but I'll just, you know, if I leave anybody,
that's all right.
Sorry. Doing a bunch of studio work for some other musicians and stuff like that as we speak. But my primary stuff, obviously, is Steel City, Westbound, Hammer Down Hard. And I'm doing some other stuff in regards to just live performances. Like I'm playing with Ronnie Monroe, and it's called Holy Dio, which is a tribute to Ronnie James Dio. So those are pretty much my primary stuff that I've got going on right now, along with City.
Then how about you, Tony?
Well, Steel City, Hammer Down Hard, Dead Risen. I do some work with Tom Amoriello. I just kind of like, if people send me tracks, I just put keyboards to them and send them out. Oh, Last Breed. I'm sorry, I forgot. Got a very 70s inspired band called Last Breed. Kind of sounds like a UFO type that stuff. So that's cool too. That's
Tell me about just real quick, and I'm going to jump back to you too, Jason. Tell me about the styles of the bands that you're doing. You mentioned the 70s one, kind of a 70s feel.
Who are you asking?
Tony, go ahead and tell me a little bit about the other bands you're doing.
Dead Risen's more like a very like a heavy prog metal type. You know, a lot of soloing, a lot of, you know, over the top stuff. The bass player is Mike LaPon from Symphony X.
No, that's my buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually told him that I saw you, whether I met you in Nashville. He's like, yeah, great guy.
Wow.
So that Hammer Down Hard is is also heavier.
Okay.
And Tom Amoriello is kind of he's a bit of a shredder. Sounds kind of impelatory. He gets a bunch of guys from Yngwie. He gets all these famous guys to play on these albums. It's hysterical. And then me, great. You know.
Well,
like, oh, okay, thanks. You know. So
right. Oh, that's cool. Little impelatory.
Little old me. You know, yeah, like it's cool.
Very cool. I just talked to Graham Bonnet not long ago, and we kind of mentioned impelatory when
he's so nice. I met him once. He was
such a great guy, and his wife.
What a nice guy.
Is a doll.
So
she is wonderful.
I had dinner with the two of them years ago. They're just such great people.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to doing another interview with him, and then also talking with Beth and me about female bands.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah, we're going to do hopefully we'll do a few different shows because there's just too much to talk about.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
tell me about Westbound.
Oh, yes. It's got Chaz West, who
Mhm.
is in the Resurrection Kings. He's in the Moby Dicks, which is a all-star Zeppelin tribute, which features Brian Tichy, Phil Sasson, who I just mentioned,
Wow.
as well as Chaz, obviously fronting it. And Chaz has a good history. He was in Bonham for many years. He took over for Oni Logan, and he also did a tour of duty, so to speak, with Foreigner when they initially put the band back together when they had Jason Bonham on drums. And so Westbound is it's definitely like Tony has a 70s influence thing. This is very 70s kind of Zeppelin-esque, just because of Chaz's history with Jason Bonham and whatnot. Cool. So that's kind of how that goes. Hammer Down Hard, which Tony mentioned, it's a heavier band, kind of like maybe a heavier Disturbed.
Oh.
But it's got some really killer hooks, some cool, even a ballad or two, which is cool. Yeah, and then I'm also working with Dallas Perkins, who's a great shredder. He was in Rock's gang for years, so we did some shows with him recently. And then I've got Ronnie Monroe's Holy Dio, which is a tribute to Ronnie James Dio and his history, which goes starts with Rainbow into Black Sabbath into the solo stuff.
What's some of your favorite stuff to play out of that catalog?
Oh gosh, Long Live Rock and Roll. I know that's kind of typical. It was in the Rockstar soundtrack, but always anthem-y type song. Man in the Soul Mountain, such a great song. I love the bass line on that.
You go to the D, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's always the thing that when you're a bass player, you're waiting for that moment during the guitar solo. They're going to go to the D.
Yeah.
I've seen people not do it. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I've got anywhere to talk. I've got no room to talk.
Yeah, what are some other good ones? I mean, and then of course you got the the ones that everybody knows, like Stand Up and Shout and Holy Diver and Don't Talk to Strangers, Heaven and Hell, Black Sabbath. I mean, you throw in Geezer Butler in there and Jimmy Bain and everybody in between. It just it's just great fun to play that stuff. It really is.
I don't know that a lot of people know that Jimmy Bain was throughout the Rainbow and Dio. It's like you never know who knew that he was in Rainbow.
Yeah, exactly. And he was such a great guy, and he's got that great bass tone. I mean, it was pick driven, which I totally respect pick players and players, but he was always just right on the money, and that tone just filled out so well.
Yeah. Rainbow Rising is one of my all-time favorite albums.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I'll agree.
Such a killer cover. I mean, come on.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Mike, tell me about Love in Chains.
Oh, Love in Chains. I'm in that too.
Yes, right. I was like, wait a minute.
Jason, we're still trying to figure out if he has more bands or more endorsements. We don't quite know.
That's a good problem to have.
I don't want to be one.
Yeah, it is.
That's less like, I went to NAMM and I got this endorsement. I really believe in everything. Like,
I'm picking on Jason, but he does. And you know what? It's like he represents everybody. He doesn't have. I'm kind of being, facetious, of course. He represents everybody that he is, that he's representing quite well. And he always, of course, makes every attempt to, promote their products and play their products live. And he does a good job doing it, man.
Thanks. I haven't been I figured out with the Gibson again. I haven't done really a lot of that since, and I'm endorsed by them too, I have to say, but I haven't really gone out with them pretty much since we did the Monsters of Rock thing online. Yeah. Last time I used the Thunderbird, because the Thunderbird, just from traveling, the neck is so huge that it just started to get some wear on it. So I finally got that thing back up running. Hope to get that back out. But anyways, Mike, you go for this. I apologize.
Those are gorgeous.
No worries.
Yeah.
As these guys well know, I am endorsed by the Dora the Explorer line of guitars. So I'm very proud of that. But other than that, like you said, really love doing the Steel City stuff. The Love and Change stuff with Rob Kane, Jason, and Brian Carl on drums is actually pretty fun to do. And Tony's actually been here's a shocker. Tony's been participating in that as well. But
Well, you know,
it's a fun project. It's a fun band to be in, and you know, Rob and I are both from, you know, Youngstown, Ohio, so that's like our connection. Right now, we've all been working on something called the Rust Belt, which is an EP that is going to feature music that is either from bands from Northeast Ohio or inspired by Northeast Ohio. For instance, you know, like I think it was Ian Hunter. I'm thinking of the presidents of the United States because we did it, but you know, Cleveland Rocks is one of the songs that we've done. Robert Coolbell is actually, and his brother are from Youngstown, so we did Misled. You know, so we did, you know, an 80s R&B tune, which is really kind of nuts when you think about it. And then like Michael Stanley Band, you know, Donnie Iris and the Cruisers, stuff like that. So a band called White Noise, which was later on known as Noisy Mama. They were signed to Atlantic. You know, so we're putting all of these bands onto this like a covers EP and just going to release it for fun.
Oh, that is cool.
And then once we get once we get Steel City, you know, under Steel City 3 under our belts, we'll maybe have a little bit of focus. We'll put a little bit more focus on doing like an actual originals album, and we'll get that stuff out to, you know, JC and Brian ASAP. But right now, I think the current focus is on Steel City and our commitment to Frontiers Music SRL. Those guys have been, just like I said, they've been really killer, and we're really fortunate to be with them.
That's
so
great.
we're just trying to give them the best that we possibly can. Side note, we just shared our album artwork with them, which I guess they seemed to me like they dug it when I read the email. So that's really.
Oh yeah, they loved it.
Good.
So, you know, yeah, and you know, we were working with Nello Delomo again on the artwork, and that guy is just incredible. So
Outstanding.
yeah. So
I
I think we're all fortunate
to have bringing him in because he knew that he was already kind of connected to Frontiers. So we turned over the artwork to them, and they love it. They said they want to just make a couple little tweaks, nothing really big, but they're so happy they can reach out directly to him. It's not like having a third party that they don't know. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. And Nello's done all of our artwork. You know, he's done all of the artwork for Steel City from the beginning. He's done the artwork for, you know, he did the artwork for Love and Chains. So, I mean, it's when you got somebody you trust, man, you just, you know, you don't make changes to the recipe if you don't need to. It just doesn't, you know, and we trust Nello. We trust his vision. He and I work pretty closely together on this stuff. And, you know, and of course it always goes through the band as well. So. Yeah.
Well, that's something else that I've always liked about Frontiers when, you know, because I'm a big Wayward Sons fan, my buddy Toby, and they were really cool with the 3 albums that they did, and they worked with Stuart Dilley on the illustrated artwork and did some really cool stuff in my book. I mean, it's some of my favorite stuff, and it was all of those first 3 albums were themed, comic bookish. It was just. I liked how Frontiers dealt with them to do that, like you're saying, you know, and it really makes for a great package because it really comes down to the tangibles. That's why the 4 of us right here are all like, yeah, that would be totally cool if it came out on vinyl because we're all of that.
That'd be fantastic, man. That'd be great.
And it's not just us anymore. Even, you know, the younger collectors of music are into it now because they're starting to get it, and it's going back to tangibles, and it's going back to quality and the analog feel and the sound. It's there is an upsweep in back to that, you know. Even CDs, let's face it, even in the CD department, people are running out of CDs. They're like, I didn't think those were going to sell anymore.
Oh yeah, or even cassettes now.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Our friends, the Midnight Devils. I just had
cool.
Sam on the other day.
I love those guys.
They just
they're really good. They're really good dudes.
They just did a cassette version.
I actually have a cassette version of one of the Amoriellos. It's like, okay,
that's awesome.
I can't play it, but
still,
looks
nice.
I had my extra cassette player, I'd send it to you, but I sold it to somebody.
Yeah.
I tell you, long-winded here, but like there's a place called Savers around here.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So I mean, always finding killer concert shirts there. You know.
Yes.
And then they have, I've bought probably 3 or 4 turntables from them. You know.
Speaking of concert shirts.
Someone wants his dinner.
There you go.
Apollo.
That's Apollo.
I'm gonna have
Come
to
here,
get
buddy.
my
Come
dog.
here. You want
back
to say
now.
hello? Apollo, come here.
Apollo.
Come here. Say hello. Say hello. Look up.
Hi.
Yeah,
We're dog lovers.
he
I-
usually eats around 5:45.
Yeah, that's
He's letting you know.
He's
letting
like,
you know.
what the F is going on here?
yeah. Well, thank you, gentlemen. I'll let us all get to our dinners and especially our dogs.
Except Mike.
Or else we become dinner.
Yeah.
And thank you guys. I appreciate you telling me about the other projects that you're working on. I can't wait to check all those out because you haven't said anything that isn't something I want to check out. So looking forward to that. And I'll definitely be keeping up with you. For everybody out there that's watching, be sure to like and subscribe if you like what's going on here. Also, with all those other folks who are out there doing some of the favorite stuff that you like to see, make sure you do the same for them. There's a ton of them out there, some really good stuff. And I will be keeping up with you gentlemen about this record because I want to be able to let everybody know what else is new as we're going along. So whatever's okay, I'll keep in touch with you guys and we'll go from there.
All
So with
Awesome.
that,
Fabulous. I'm sorry.
have a happy holiday.
Thank you. You as well.
You guys, thank you very much. And watch
Merry
your
Christmas,
favorite
man.
movies.
Yeah.
Of course.
And thank you for mentioning the Scrooge movie with Albert Finney.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt.
Last year, actually, all right, one more thing. Last year, there was an animated show put on Netflix called Scrooge. They used some of the music from that.
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of crazy. I was like, how'd they do that? Who said okay to that? I thought it was entertaining.
That whole thing when he's thank you very much when he's
Yes,
that's
a perfect.
Yep,
I love
that
that scene.
That is it. Cast
So
of
great.
thousands singing that song.
Well, all right. Well, thank you so much, guys. And we will talk to you soon. In the meantime, I've got this track that somebody said. So this is the dude who did that right down there. So thank you, everybody, for being out there today. Thanks for our guests. Thanks for all the comments. Good to see you guys out there. We look forward to seeing you soon. Take it easy, folks. Take care and have a great week. Next week, we'll see you back here. We have Gaetano Nicolosi with Scott and Stu, and their bass player as well. I can't think of his name now, but that's what's happening next week. Take care.